as the neon lights of the megacity cast a gaudy glow over the crowded streets. Zorveth, a lone alien, stood accused of a crime he didn't commit. The cold, metallic walls of the police station seemed to close in on him as the detective, a gruff, no-nonsense human, glared at him with suspicion. "You're the only one who could have accessed the lab, Zorveth," the detective growled. "The DNA evidence doesn't lie." Zorveth's large, black eyes darted back and forth, his antennae twitching with anxiety. He knew he was innocent. But how could he prove it? His thoughts were consumed by the memory of his mate, Zexu, who was trapped in a lab on the other side of the city. She was the reason he had come to Earth in the first place, to find a cure for her deadly illness. But now, with the police closing in on him, he feared he would never see her again. As the interrogation continued, Zorveth's frustration grew. He knew the detective was just doing his job. But couldn't he see that he was telling the truth? Just as it seemed like the situation couldn't get any worse. The lab's security footage was played, showing a figure with Zorveth's exact markings breaking into the lab. The detective's expression turned smug. "Looks like we have our culprit." But Zorveth knew that footage was faked. He had been in his quarters at the time of the break-in, trying to contact Zexu's doctors to see if they had made any progress. He was about to give up hope when a young, brilliant hacker, who had been watching the interrogation from the shadows, stepped forward. "I think I can help," she said. Her eyes locked on the detective. "I've been tracking a suspicious signal from the lab's server. It looks like someone has been tampering with the footage." The detective raised an eyebrow, intrigued despite himself. "Go on," he said, his tone a little softer. The hacker, whose name was Lena, quickly got to work, her fingers flying across her cyberdeck. After a few tense moments, she looked up, a triumphant smile on her face. "I found the original footage," she said. "And it's not what we expected." The footage showed a human, not Zorveth, breaking into the lab. But what was even more shocking was the human's identity. It was the lab's head scientist, Dr. Alara. The detective's expression turned from smug to stunned. "Why would she do that?" he muttered. Zorveth's eyes widened as the truth dawned on him. Dr. Alara had been working on a top-secret project, using Zexu as a test subject. She had faked the footage to frame Zorveth, hoping to cover her tracks. But why? The answer came to him in a flash. Dr. Alara had discovered a cure for Zexu's illness. But she had no intention of sharing it with the world. She wanted to use it to gain power and control. With the truth finally out, the detective apologized to Zorveth and promised to do everything in his power to bring Dr. Alara to justice. Zorveth, his heart still racing, made his way to the lab, Lena by his side. When they arrived, they found Dr. Alara trying to escape with Zexu. But it was too late. The police had already surrounded the building. As Dr. Alara was taken away, Zorveth rushed to Zexu's side. She was weak, but alive. The cure, it turned out, had been administered just in time. Zorveth held her close, tears of joy streaming down his face. He had found redemption and hope. In the unlikeliest of places, a futuristic megacity on a hostile planet. As they walked out of the lab, hand in hand, Zorveth turned to Lena and smiled. "Thank you," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. Lena smiled back, her eyes shining with tears. "You're welcome," she said. "We make a good team." Together, the three of them disappeared into the neon-lit night, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.